Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome back to JOECMDRAWZ, welcome back to a new video. In this video, you're going to be watching me design these three new zany zoan-type devil fruits. Let's get into it. Okay everybody, the first devil fruit that I'm going to be looking at today is called the Mushi Mushi no Mi model ant colony, or Ari no Koroni. Now this devil fruit allows its user to create, control and become a colony of ants. The classification of this devil fruit is that it's a special zoan, much like the character Karasu from the Revolutionary Army and his weirdly, interestingly cool devil fruit that's basically a murder of crows. You could use these ants to gather information, use them for like stealth missions, create bridges for crew members to cross different ships or heavy, like large bodies of water. Use them to lift large or heavy objects. You can even use the ants, kind of like how Katakuri does with his mochi, and split your body like apart, you know, like create holes in your body, since you're literally made of like a colony of ants. That would be really, really cool. So you could do that to like dodge attacks and stuff. Obviously, it would be even better with future sight, so you could really take advantage of that, but I think it's still pretty cool. Your body is actually not just comprised of one type of ant, but it's actually comprised of many different types of ants, from like bullet ants, fire ants, soldier ants, worker ants, farmer ants. It's pretty cool. So you have all these different types of species of ants inside your body that you could use in conjunction with each other or just separately. And I think that's just really interesting. Being able to switch and flip-flop back and forth between these different species of ants is actually really helpful. Obviously, lifting large and heavy objects is pretty cool. When you consider ants can actually lift like 10 to 50 times their own body weight, meaning that like a whole colony's worth of ants, you know, that range like in the several thousands. You know, if you multiply that, let's say that one ant can lift like 50 times their own weight. If you produced like 1,000 ants from your body, that means you could lift something 50,000 times your own weight. And then maybe if you double it or triple it to like maybe a full colony's worth, then it's quite, you know, the numbers would be absolutely insane. Just a pretty cool fact about ants is that there could quite possibly be 10 quadrillion ants in the world at any one time. That's pretty insane, don't you think? Quadrillion ants. That's pretty insane. So I've started off pretty strong here. As you can see, I've just got like a bunch of these sketches here. I'm just trying to figure out what I want this like ant type devil fruit to be. I'm trying out all these different combinations of how I want the like actual devil fruit to look, and I want to incorporate things about ants that are really recognizable, such as like antennae and the little pincers that they have that they use to eat things and crush things and most importantly bite things. So I'm trying to think of different or interesting shapes. As you can see, there's one down here that kind of looks like in the shape of an anthill, in that kind of like sloping kind of like shape, but it wasn't really working out. The first couple there were like just trying to work with like an ant head maybe. I'm trying to get those like pincers at the top, trying to see what it looks like flipped upside down, you know. Another one there that was like based on a reference photo of a shape of an ant's head, trying to use like the little like runners that sometimes like stuff like strawberry plants have that can like come off there to maybe be like represent the antennae, but nah, I didn't really like that. And then this latest one that you see me here sketching is mostly trying to go off a reference image of ants that you know, like the body of the ant, you know, you got the head and then the abdomen and thorax. I believe that's how the sections, that's what they're called. So I tried to make it kind of like a bottom heavy devil fruit. You know, you got this small bit at the top there, and then you've got this really big bit at the bottom. You could choose whatever bit you wanted to eat. And when you're designing these kind of devil fruits, you really need to kind of think outside the box and try a lot of different things. Okay, so we're moving on now, and so I'm trying to move on to like this final sketching stage here, trying to combine different devil fruit sketches that I've done into one that I really like. And so you see, I combined 2 different devil fruit sketches there just to see what it would look like, because I really like that first one, and I want to combine that with like that bottom heavy one, that kind of look like an ant's body. And I really liked the look of this, so I just wanted to go with that. I really do like the look of this devil fruit. I said this in the last video, I think, of designing devil fruits, but I'm getting really good at kind of being happy with the shape language and the way I'm actually designing these devil fruits. I think the process is just really fun. I don't know, I'm getting better every single time that I design like a set of these devil fruits, and I feel like I might do a video going back and redesigning some of the early ones, like if anybody remembers the gargoyle or the paper fruit or the cloud fruit. I'd really love to go back and like redesign them in this like new approach that I have. When you're designing these devil fruits, you want to take everything you can about your subject, like the shape, the color language, the other kind of like different things. Think about the swirls, think about everything about it, and then once you've got a bunch of your sketches, take the ones that you're most happy with and combine them together to make a whole different kind of fruit altogether. So as you can see, I'm inking my final sketch design here. Nothing really too special, just kind of like inking the sketch really. I'm not using Lazy Nezumi here. I'm trying to get into the habit of not just relying on Lazy Nezumi, as I don't really want to just limit myself to just using that one tool. I want to like get into my own inking style and try and figure that out without just constantly relying on a computerized tool. And I really like this brush that I made. I don't know, it's got this kind of like unique quality about it that I really like using. And yeah, I just had a lot of fun inking this. As you see off to the side there, I've got like this reference image of, I think that's an ant queen, and that was just there for basically color reference really. And see, I've got like a little swatch down there, thinking about the colors as well, you know, like I said, using the reference images to their fullest potential for shape, light, color, anything really, and that will help influence your design of the devil fruit. And you see I'm just kind of going through different stages here, trying to really nail down what I want this devil fruit to look like. Here I was gonna see if I could add some extra details like these golden swirls here. I'm trying to get some nice like kind of golden like yellowishy color there. That maybe turn all the swirls golden there as well. This doesn't stay for the final design, but I do think it's still worth having a look at, you know. So we're into the colouring stage here, and now I'm coming on to the shading. I just went through a couple of different brushes here, trying to figure out what kind of brush I want to use. I think in the end I used kind of this really nice chalky pastel brush. Yeah. I'm trying to shade this as if I was just shading a sphere. I mean, in the end, this devil fruit is really just made of 2 different spheres. And I'm just trying to shade it that way. I'm still trying to get used to it, or just trying to replicate what these kind of like final devil fruits look like on like the wiki and stuff like that, but trying to still maintain it in my own way, so when people see like my devil fruits that I've designed, they're like, oh, that's JOECMDRAWZ devil fruit designs, you know, I recognize that, you know. Trying to get that kind of interesting kind of like pastel-y look. Yeah, I go back over those like golden swirls to see, oh well, I didn't really like it. In this process, you know, I go through a bunch of different stuff, and you don't have to get it right on the first time, but that's the first devil fruit. Okay everybody, the next devil fruit that we're going to be looking at is the Tori no Mi Ancient Model Forest Rhapsody, or colloquially known as Terra birds. This devil fruit allows its user to transform into, well, a Terra bird. The classification for this zoan-type devil fruit is an ancient zoan, and it's very much like X-Drake and page 1 of the Beast Pirates. This will enhance the user's speed, strength, recovery, and durability, as well as grant them like a hybrid form that they can transform into as well, just like every other zone type user. But yeah, as you can see off to my left here, I've got a bunch of different references for the devil fruit. I tried a bunch of different stuff here. You know, I've got some fruits down there that look like eggplants. Got some different fruits down there that were like ancient fruits that I found as reference. I've actually got some actual images of what we think the forest rhapsody of the Terra birds actually looked like, and just trying to use my references here as well, reference really, trying to, like I said in the first part with the ant colony devil fruit, that I'm looking for size, shape, colour, anything interesting. It's got like a skull there. Maybe I can pull some sort of like really cool colour from that, or the shape, or like I said, the colour of the shape from these fruits. As you'll notice as well in my reference here, I've actually got 3 images here that look very suspicious, and that's because they were actually generated from the DALL-E 2 mini like AI tool. I got a pretty bright idea, because you see it's all over like the internet right now. People making a lot of really cool videos about the DALL-E mini, or as it's named now, the Ion, I think that's what it's called. Using that to create some pretty interesting videos, and I thought, I really want to I don't want to be defined by this tool. I don't want it to, like, because a lot of artists are saying, oh, it's going to take over our jobs and it's going to outperform us, and well, judging by its results, it's not going to do it anytime soon. But I think if you are an artist like myself, it's a pretty powerful tool to use to give you an initial idea of what you're looking for. And if you want to create your own devil fruits, this is a pretty powerful tool to utilize. As you can see down there, I've got some pretty interesting devil fruits that I'm going to be using as like sketches. Here's one that's based off this that big orange one down there that looks really cool with all like these twisting tendrils, and it's really interesting, kind of basic swirl pattern on there. But what I'm looking for is like the actual shape of the devil fruit itself. And it's like kind of this coned up shape that's like cupped up. I think that's pretty cool. Again, utilizing the AI's results of what I typed in to give me a result that I want, and then build off of that base to give me a pretty cool result. You know, using the AI to my advantage. You know, it's pretty difficult trying to just come up with a shape for a devil fruit or a color for a devil fruit itself. You know, and it's pretty taxing. It can take hours upon hours of gathering reference and looking at other devil fruits that have been designed by Oda in the series, and trying to also at the same time make it fairly unique among not only the other devil fruits that I've designed, but also the others that are actually present in the actual series. So yeah, DALL-E Mini is a really powerful tool to have what you want. I got some pretty cool reference images out of the actual program itself, and you might see some in this video and the next one with the next devil fruit. But it really actually did help me design these 3 devil fruits, especially this one for the forest rhapsody. And yes, that is actually how it's pronounced, because I double checked before recording. But why choose this dinosaur? I could have chosen any dinosaur. Well, for starters, it's a dinosaur that I don't think people really know a lot about. As you see there, it's like this giant 8-foot bird dinosaur. And when you think of dinosaur, you don't really generally think of birds. I know the general consensus now is like, oh, dinosaurs had feathers and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, there really isn't any kind of like, people don't think about that when they think dinosaur. They think of big scaly creatures, T-Rexes, Spinosauruses, and that kind of stuff, which obviously are the devil fruits for page 1, who has the Spinosaurus devil fruit of the Beast Pirates, and Extrake sword member former Beast Pirate who has the T-Rex model, I believe. But yeah, there really isn't very many bird devil fruits in general in the series at all. You know, there's Marco the Phoenix with his bird type devil fruit. And I wanted to kind of combine the two, have like a bird devil fruit and then a dinosaur devil fruit, really. And obviously, like I said, I want 3 unique zoan types. It's really difficult to come up with 3 different zoans because you know what you want to design, but it's not as easy as you might think. You might think, oh well, animals, there's loads of them, just pick one. But when you're designing each of the categories, mythical, ancient, and then base zoan, and then also trying to make it unique from every other devil fruit out there, it becomes quite a challenge. As you see there, I use the shape of the Terra bird's beak actually as like the leaves that cup the actual devil fruit in this sketch, which I think is really cool. I don't actually use it, but I do think it's really interesting. And again, like, it uses my principle of using everything in your reference to come up with a uniquely shaped devil fruit. Just because I didn't use it here doesn't mean that you couldn't. But yeah, anyway, back to why I chose the Terra bird. First of all, they're freaking cool, man. They're like really fucking cool birds. As you can see, they've got like green and purple on there, and they're really colourful, and they're like these really terrifying giant birds. But some of the facts about these birds are that they are a carnivorous. They were a carnivorous flightless bird. They are, well, or were one of the largest species of apex predators in South America, and they lived in the Cenozoic era. I'm not sure what else lived in that era, so if there's any like paleontologists that might have, you know, happened to stumble across this random devil fruit video because of like some tags or the algorithm or something, let me know some other really interesting, cool kind of creatures from the Cenozoic era. Maybe I'll turn them into ancient zoan-type devil fruits. But they existed for 12 million years ago. And they were 8 feet tall and 300 pounds, and they were able to reach speeds of over 60 plus miles per hour, which is fast enough to catch up with like modern day cheetahs, and even probably outpace them, you know. So there's no chance of you getting away from this creature. Just to pause for a minute, as you can see, I've got a bunch of my sketches here, and now what I'm doing is taking parts from ones I really, really like and combining them into different unique devil fruits that combine traits from these other sketches, an amalgamation, if you will, the good and the bad, and mixing them together to make a really, really cool devil fruit. And this one here, I really like the shape of that one at the top left. The kind of like leaves come at the bottom, the root, the curling at the bottom, this almost onion shape there, and these like curly, spiraling vines of the other one that I used, the DALL.E mini image that produced. But yeah, I really liked it, and now I'm kind of like going through here and iterating on this here as well, iterating on the leaves and the stalks and everything. You know, doing these devil fruit videos take a long time because I'm gathering a reference that could take up to like an hour or 2 or 3 of just finding the right type of reference, and then also sketching, and then worrying about like being recorded and making sure that it looks really good and that kind of stuff, and also coming up with a unique type devil fruit. But anyway, that's why I wanted to choose the Terra birds, because they're freaking cool, man. They were like these top apex bird predators that have these really sharp beaks with serrated like teeth in them that would rip your flesh apart, and they're just giant, cool ancient birds. What I originally was going to do was I was going to choose the dodo bird as the ancient type devil fruit that you would have been watching right now, but I thought about it because I thought it'd be really hilarious to have like this kind of like interestingly rare devil fruit that's like this, because ancient type devil fruits are actually particularly rare, and obviously, like I said, mythicals are even rarer. And so even if you don't find a mythical zoan, you know, in ancient zoan-type devil fruit is still insanely rare. And I just thought it'd be hilarious if you finally find this new, like, mystery ancient, like, rare devil fruit, and then it just turns out to be a dodo bird. I mean, it would be spectacularly fucking useless, and I think that's absolutely hilarious, but I decided against it. You know, leave a like and a comment if you want me to design, like, a quick, kind of, like, dodo bird devil fruit. You know, would anybody actually like a dodo devil fruit? I think it'd be spectacularly shit, but I mean, it would be kind of hilarious. I mean, popular to believe, dodos weren't actually that stupid. I mean, they had powerful legs to, like, run away, and they weren't as stupid as he might be made out to believe. I did look up some really cool dodo facts, but because I would have told you them in place of the Terra bird facts, but yeah, I just never did it because I didn't think it would be that great, because nobody would really want that, right? Unless you were, like, hilariously bad. But I just thought that would be a really funny joke. But let me know if you want me to design that. So as you can see here, I'm going through different kind of swirl pattern iterations. You know, being a concept artist and designing things is all about iteration. It doesn't matter whether it looks good or not. You just have to iterate on it, and you have to keep iterating until you are happy with what you have. So I just keep iterating because I wasn't really happy with any of these, like, swirling patterns at all. I just wanted to keep working on it because, like I said, keeping working on it is what you want. I think here is when I'm coming to one where I'm actually fairly happy with it, because with these swirl patterns on devil fruit, you can choose to have as much swirls or little swirls as you want. Just because some devil fruits have a lot of swirls doesn't mean that you have to have a lot of swirls. So I'm trying to approach that with maybe less is more, you know, not trying to crowd the design too much, because there's already a lot going on this devil fruit, and I kind of, like, abandoned the kind of, like, onion layering skin on there, because I just thought it cluttered up the design too much. But here I've got a really, really good one, and now we're moving on to the inking stage. But did you know about Forest Rhapsody? Did you know about Terra birds? Let me know in the comments, because I'd really genuinely love to know, because it seemed like a really kind of, like, hidden creature, actually, that not many people talk about, and I thought it was so cool that I wanted to make it into a devil fruit. I mean, just imagine the powerful legs that you would gain and the speed advantage, and coating your legs with haki and just slamming into your enemies with these hardened kind of dino legs that could, you know, run at like 60-70 miles per hour, catching up to people and just clocking them in the head. And also the durability and the strength that you would gain from these ancient ones. I mean, look at King and Queen and how durable and powerful those two are, you know? Even though Marco the Phoenix was able to, like, kind of easily able to overpower them in the latest chapters of the manga of One Piece. But that's just because he had a mythical, you know, ancient. Just because he made them look really easy does not mean that they were actually weak. And their ancient model type devil fruits are particularly powerful. It's just that Marco was just better than they were. But I'm just moving to the inking here. Like I said, trying to ink without lazy Nezumi here. Trying to get more into my personal inking style using my brushes that I made. Just making giving my art a little bit more personality, and, you know, that's my art, you know. Let me know what you think of the devil fruit so far. What do you think of my process? What do you think of this devil fruit? Would you want this devil fruit? You know, I think with the powers, you would have to kind of like incorporate like a lot of kicking moves, kind of like how Sanji does, just to really make use of those powerful legs. Because as you can see in my reference, they don't really have very powerful arms. They've kind of got like a T-Rex syndrome going on. Not very powerful arms, tiny like little claws, and so it's all about the beak and the legs, and so you would have to incorporate that into your fighting style. And like I said, you've got a hybrid form you can turn into, so you could just turn your legs into those legs and keep your upper arms free to like grab swords or whatever you want, right? But yeah, let me know what you think of this devil fruit so far. Here I'm moving on to kind of my color block out after I finish my inking. Nothing really much too complicated to say here. I'm just going through the colors, using those, again, those DALL-E images to kind of help influence and the color, and help take a little bit of time away from, you know, fiddling around with all the colors and stuff. In the end, I'm pretty happy with this devil fruit and how it came out. I think it looks like a pretty elegant devil fruit for such a kind of like ferocious, carnivorous beast. But you would also get that kind of like carnivorous kind of like power boost on top of, like, again, the durability and the power and everything. And I think this would be an actually particularly powerful devil fruit to actually possess, if you can make use of its unique traits and its large beak and its powerful legs and its overwhelming speed. You could definitely overwhelm and overpower a lot of characters in the One Piece universe. Here you can see I'm putting on some kind of like highlights here after I've done with the shading, and I'm pretty happy with the way this is turning out. You know, I'm pretty confident in the shapes, and I like all the right amount of swirls and all that kind of stuff. I'm thinking about producing a devil fruit tutorial if you guys were interested, you know, on how I design them, and not just watching me do it, but actually, you know, kind of teaching how to design your own devil fruits so you can do it just like kind of like I am. And I want to get back into doing like tutorial kind of stuff. I'm not particularly good at it, but it's something else that I want to try out for the channel. So here I'm just adding some kind of like final kind of like highlighting touches here, maybe some green underlight from those leaves that are bouncing up onto the actual fruit itself. But yeah, this is the Tori Tori no Mi mythical model Forest Rhapsody, also known as Terra birds. Okay everybody, and finally we move on to the final devil fruit of the video, unfortunately the final zoan-type devil fruit, which is the Hecatoncheires no Mi mythical model Hecatoncheires. Now you might be wondering, Joe, what the heck is a Hecatoncheires? Like, what is this? Well, this devil fruit allows the user to transform into the mythical creature known as a Hecatoncheires. This will enhance the user's speed, strength, recovery, and durability, as well as grant them like a hybrid form that they can transform into, just kind of like every other zoan-type devil fruit. So what are these like Hecatoncheires? What is a Hecatoncheires? Well, Hecatoncheires actually, Hecatoncheires actually means 100-handed. See, the Hecatoncheires of legend were absolutely gargantuan giants with 50 heads and 100 arms. They were born to the gods Gaia and Uranus, or Uranus, however you want to pronounce it. And there were actually 3 of them in legend, only 3 of them. They were absolutely monstrously powerful. Even the gods feared them. And just to name something that they could do, they were able to throw mountain-sized boulders 100 at a time at their enemies. So imagine this absolutely gargantuan giant with 50 heads and 100 arms that is just literally going around grabbing mountain-sized boulders, and they have like 100 of them there in their hands, and they chuck all of them at you, and then there's 3 of them. Obviously this devil fruit won't, you know, merge all 3 of them. That would just make you equivalent to the strength of one. But yeah, that's just to name something that what they could do. But yeah, that's my inspiration behind this devil fruit. See, the Hecatoncheires in legend were so powerful and monstrously ugly that the gods actually had them chucked down to what's it called? Tartarus. That's it, Tartarus. Along, and when like the whole war broke out with Zeus and the Titans, Zeus tricked the Hecatoncheires into fighting for him, and they were so powerful they were only 3 of them were able to overpower the Titans, and they were able to overpower them and push them down and beat them and push them into Tartarus. And then after they had done their job, they actually ended up going back down to Tartarus to become jailers or guards for the Titans themselves. So that was like my inspiration behind this, and I think it's a really interesting monster actually. They're so like horrifically ugly, but I kind of like them. So just to talk about my process here, as you can see on my left here, I've got some reference. I've got like a human kind of like head without skin on. Excuse me. I've got some like shrunken human heads there that are pretty interesting. And I've also got some more of these like DALL-E to create AI on generated images, because I think the actual process of using them is pretty fun, and you can get some pretty interesting devil fruit results just by changing what you type into the randomizer, I guess. As you can see there, it's taken like the devil kind of like part of it too literally, I think, but I do think that the sizes, the shapes, the colors, even one there that has like almost like a human face contorted into it, or like a demon face into it, it's really cool, and you get a wide range of kind of like color and shape. Like some of them are red there, some of them are orange, some of them are like purpley blue. It's interesting. So I was using them mostly for reference, and like, I class it as my own personal reference for this, so I'm not like just taking someone like else's images from Google or whatever. Yeah, I have a couple there, like the head or whatever, but most of these references here are just pretty much my own kind of like reference images from the DALL-E mini program. But yeah, my idea for going into this devil fruit was pretty much just come up with as many ways to render a human head into some sort of like fruit shape as possible. So I've already got 3 here, as you can see. I was thinking like maybe you could have one there that looks like they have like a bunch of human heads squashed together in like some sort of a grape format. One big one that looks like a human head with the swirls and have some shapes dangling off that maybe look like ears. And maybe have swirls in the place of eyes. Here on this one I'm doing right now, I wanted to kind of have the overall shape in a human head and have like all the swirls in there, and then have like what you call on other plants called runners, which are like these like long kind of like plant-like tendrils, and I wanted to replicate them and have them look like hands to replicate the Hecatoncheires many hands that you would actually have if you ate this devil fruit. And I'm just trying to come up with as many different ideas as possible, because like I explained earlier, for the last devil fruit is you want to come up with as many ideas as possible and then merge all of your ideas together. Don't just settle on your first idea. Yeah, you might think it's the greatest idea ever, but you know, you won't really know what the end product will look like if you just stop there. You know, you want to carry on, you want to keep going and see how many variations you can actually create. Here I'm doing another one that's also vaguely in the shape of a human head, trying to come up with like these like tendrils or kind of like leaves or vines, I guess, coming out the top of there, like almost kind of like hair, I guess. But yeah, so what kind of abilities would you actually get from eating this mythical Hecatoncheires devil fruit? Well, first of all, you would actually be absolutely gargantuan. I cannot like stress enough how massive you would actually be. You would be bigger than Sengoku when he turns into his Buddha form. You'd be bigger than Kaido is in his full dragon form. You would dwarf them. I think you would actually be on par with how big like Luffy Gear 5 is. If I had to kind of guess, or at least equate it to like how big you would be, I don't think you would be as big as Douglas Bullet, or you might even be bigger than him. You know, from that One Piece film. I can't remember what One Piece film it was. Stampede, I think it was One Piece Stampede. But you would possibly be just as big as he was when he was at his biggest. But if I had to say modern scaling, I would say you would be just as big normally as Gear 5 Luffy when he's like in his gigantic mode when he's fighting Kaido. And that's just base. Like if you did like a partial transformation, you'd be absolutely huge still. and you'd have like, I guess, half the heads and half the arms. So if you had like 50 heads, you would have like 25 heads, and if you had 100 arms, you would have 50 arms. Still, that would probably be more than enough to defeat like half the One Piece cast. Like, you could probably beat Kaido with that, maybe, possibly, I'm not sure. But I do know in Legend that Hecatoncheires had absolutely unmatched physical strength. Like, they were so monstrously physically strong, you can't even begin to imagine. So imagine getting all that physical strength just from this one devil fruit. And then when you mix in like Haki into the mix, and all the crazy kind of like power-ups that zoan-type devil fruits give you already, so and already increased your strength, speed, and durability, and then you add on top of like 50 heads and 100 arms, no one is getting past you with that kind of stuff. No one is getting past you. Even like I said, even like 25 hands or 50 hands, shall I say, would possibly be enough to just like wipe out like entire fleets of like the Navy, and you would be more than enough of a match to go up against some of the toughest admirals. That's just how confident I am in how physically strong you would be. And then, like I said, when you add in Haki into it, and then you add in like advanced Haki like Ryo, or you add in Conqueror's Haki as well, that are like infused into your fists, and you saw how hard Luffy actually smacked Kaido around with that. Like, you would be easily able to just knock Kaido out over and over and over again with this just massive physical strength. But coming back to the devil fruit kind of like sketching process here, as you can see, I've got one down there that kind of had looked like 3 heads merged together, and then the kind of like leaves at the top that are coming out like kind of sprouting like a hand. You can't really see, but I'm like doing this gesture with my hand that's like kind of shooting out. And then what I'm working on right here, I'm going back to kind of that many heads design, trying to figure out how I can shape and mold these kind of like swirls into almost looking like a human face, you know, like swirls where the eyes would be, swirl where the nose would be, that kind of stuff. So I'm just trying out different methods here, trying to figure out what I want to do in terms of the actual design. Here I'm getting a little bit closer, which is closer to the final product that you've seen at the beginning of the video. And here I've kind of done this kind of swirl that's coming down and looping up that kind of almost looks like a nose, and that's what I'm trying to achieve. I'm trying to achieve swirls that kind of connect together in a cohesive manner that kind of almost look like eyes, a nose, and a mouth, and like the top of the head that could also be interpreted as hair. But yeah, eating this devil fruit would make you absolutely massively overpowered, like, and that's just like having a half transformation. And if you did a full transformation, oh no, you would probably easily be able to wipe out the Navy, easily. Yeah, definitely. You could able to go toe to toe with both Big Mom and Kaido at the same time. I think it's just that powerful. Like I said, in the legend, there was only 3 Hecatoncheires that were able to take out the Titans. And if you know anything about Greek mythology, you know how terrifyingly powerful these Titans actually were. Zeus couldn't do it by himself, so he had to have the Hecatoncheires come and help him. And like I said, they were like chucking these mountain-sized boulders at them, and they were able to do that 100 like at a time. And so you'd be able to just easily like go and grab like a mountain in the One Piece world, just rip the top off of it, and then have like scoop giant bits of land like in the size of a boulder, and do that like 100 times. You could easily just rip up a whole continent and just crush that in your hands, and then chuck that at the Navy if they were chasing you maybe, and you'll be able to just crush them instantly. There'll be nowhere to escape because it's just that big. Now I do know in the devil fruit lore that obviously if you go into the ocean, you will kind of like lose your sense of where you are. You'll lose all kind of like a sense of feeling, and then you would drown. But with you being this massive, I don't think it would actually bother you if you were stood in the ocean. You'd be just that big. You'd be bigger than Oars. You'd be bigger than Oars Jr. I reckon you'd be bigger than the first continent puller Oars, or at least kind of on the same scale, I think. Here, bringing it back to the devil fruit designs, as you can see, I've got my favourite ones of the sketching process. I've got the almost grape human heads there. One here that's vaguely in the shape of a human head with like this kind of like spiraling leaves there with like the the stalk with that's in the shape of human hands. I really wanted to fit in like heads and hands. That's the main kind of like key point about this. That's like the two main things that I wanted to have on here is just heads and hands. So I'm trying to come up with different combinations of this way and how else I can incorporate that and mix that with devil fruits. The one there at the bottom there, like I said, I talked about earlier with the runners that look like hands. Another one here where I really liked this kind of like, again, a multiple heads, kind of like almost berry-like fruit, and with the swirls that are like conjoined together that look like a human face. And so I'm trying different things here, and I'm combining all the ones that I really like into a new kind of like new design. So you can see here I'm taking the one that looks like many heads into like a grape format, which was based off the shrunken heads that I had as reference, and I'm trying to like find a way to place swirls on this design, but in the end I don't really actually end up using this design. I feel like it's too cluttered, too clustered together, and I do work on this for quite a bit, but in the end I don't really actually use it. I feel like it's too crowded, but again, this is all worth the process. You know, this is what you have to do. This is what you do in concept art. I know I've talked about this a lot of times, but in concept art you are concepting. A lot of people tend to get concept art and illustration mixed up. Illustration is just making pretty pictures, and you know that's what a lot of people see, and that's what they confuse it. But with concept art, you are concepting. It doesn't matter how ugly or how kind of like messed up it looks. You are concepting. You're trying to find the answer to the question that you're asking, and this is the process that you're supposed to go through. Look how like rough these sketches look. I'm not bothered about like how good my hands are looking. I just want to get as many ideas out of my head onto the canvas as quickly as possible. Now, as you can see, I got rid of that other one, and I've got this new one here, which is taking inspiration from the one at the bottom there, which is using that bigger, almost grape-looking head with the swirls in the shape of a human face, and I'm merging all of them together. Now, I've slightly changed it, but again, it's another kind of like merging all these kind of like different heads together. And now I'm just kind of like cleaning up, merging all the different heads together. Trying to find a good balance of like big to small, trying to fit where all the swirls are going to go. And on these ones I have like this negative space that's in there between a couple of these swirls that will act as like eye sockets, I guess, if you imagine these are like skulls or shrunken human heads. Excuse me. I'm just recording after lunch, so got a little bit of indigestion there, so apologies. But yeah, I really had fun designing this one. I definitely want to do more devil fruits based on like mythological Grecian creatures. Like, I think a chimera devil fruit would be ridiculously brokenly overpowered. Like, I know like mythical devil fruits are broken already. I mean, look at Marco. He is absolutely busted. But you know, some of them might even be more busted than his. And I feel like this is one of them. As you can see here, I've added another like a little human head there. Gonna add that in there because I thought it needed a new one. I thought it needed another one just to kind of like make it look like it's almost got like the shape of like a tumor almost. It's like these weird growths, and that's kind of like what I wanted. Like I said, these Hecatoncheires, these creatures were ugly, really ugly, and like I said, they had like 50 heads, so you can try and imagine that. So here I've again used my other sketch there with the hands there to get like the stems here, and I've kind of put them on the side there, trying different positions. I wanted them to be sprouting everywhere, again alluding back to the Hecatoncheires' origin, and all their hands and stuff. So I really was like dead set on this idea of making the the stems. Why do I keep forgetting that? The stems, like hands, so I was dead set on that. And yeah, I'm not the greatest at drawing hands, but I was really dead set on this idea, and I was like, this is such a genius idea. No one's done this before. Like, I'm always trying to constantly improve and push what it means to classify a devil fruit. Just because it doesn't look like Luffy's Gumma Gumma no Mi doesn't mean that it can't be a devil fruit. Look at the recent devil fruit designs. Look at Yamato's devil fruit. She has barely any swirls on there. It's only like 5 or 6 or even 4 swirls, and it's still a banger design. So here I'm going into the inking stage, and again using my special kind of inking brush that I designed right here in Photoshop. And just going over it without the assistance of Lazy Nezumi. Like, yeah, using Lazy Nezumi is good, and it is helpful for other projects, but here I really wanted to bring out the kind of rugged, kind of like ink brush kind of like techniques, and also use the uniqueness of this brush to its advantage with its texture and its thick to thin ratio. So as you can see, I'm going over the swirls because I was looking over some of the other like official devil fruit artwork by Oda, and obviously he doesn't use like any digital kind of like techniques or anything like Lazy Nezumi, and I wanted to really try and capture that. I want to get as close to as possible to his style of designing devil fruits. Like how would Eiichiro Oda design this devil fruit, you know, while also maintaining my own personal style and my own ideas and trying to make it my own, but also trying to make it look as official as possible. I still don't think I've cracked the code on kind of like how he like colors them. I'll need to do more research on that, and obviously don't worry, more devil fruits videos will be coming in the future. But for now, I think I'm just going to try my best and do it in my own way. But I'm in the end, I'm really happy with this devil fruit. I mean, some of these faces look deformed and they look very lumpy. So that's really what kind of like what I wanted. Here I'm just inking over the hands. Nothing too complicated. So I'll kind of like just shut up for a minute and let you watch this process, and I'll come back to talk about the color. I made a mistake there. I accidentally clicked on the text box there, but my bad. But here I'm going into the block out stage, kind of like how I always do these designs. I go over with like the magnetic lasso tool, and I just go over my design, and I just kind of like select it. This is just the easiest way to color, in my opinion. Digitally anyway, you just make like a grey mask, and then you just color in there. It just helps stop you from going outside of the lines, and just helps keep everything contained in the illustration itself, or the concept, shall I say. But yeah, here I'm going to use like my DALL-E 2 or DALL-E Mini images as a reference for the color, but I kind of wanted like this uncanny kind of like almost human flesh color. Let's see, I go through a different couple of versions here, trying to figure out what kind of color looks really good, and I kind of almost like this. It's almost got like a color of a pumpkin almost. But yeah, I'm really happy with like these base colors. I think that green is a bit too green, as a lot of like the official devil fruits have like this almost paley kind of like bright green on there. But here I'm coming with some shading with like this big chalky brush again. I really like using this thing. It's got a lot of like texture, a lot of grit to it, and I just like using it because it can cover like a broad kind of like range all over like the designs and stuff. And here I'm putting in some like nice highlights. I feel like I need to get much better at like placing my lights and shadows on illustrations and stuff like this. But I think it works for what it is. Like maybe that back head there could have really been pushed into shadow, and maybe the ones at the bottom could have been pushed into more shadow as well, and the ones that the bigger ones could have had a more clear distinction where the light is coming from. But you know, in the end, I'm still really happy with the design overall. But yeah, this is the Hito no Mi mythical model Hecatoncheires. And there you have it. You have the 3 newest devil fruits designed by yours truly. You have a special zoan, the ant colony devil fruit. You have an ancient devil fruit, the Terra bird devil fruit, or the forest rhapsody. And you have the mythical Hito no Mi model Hecatoncheires. If you did like this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share your ideas about more devil fruits in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!